You know what's dangerous? A quiet person who finally stops being afraid. Ethan thought I would cry, stay silent, and disappear quietly. But he forgot one. I built myself from pain. And people like me don't break the same way twice. This was the moment I stopped being the victim. After leaving the bathroom, I washed my face slowly. The girl staring back at me in the mirror looked tired, but not weak. A few months ago, this would have destroyed me completely. But now? Now I was angry. I went home that night and opened my laptop immediately. Every draft, every message, every timestamp, I had everything. Proof. Because while Ethan was busy pretending to be smart, he forgot something important. I was the one who built the project from the beginning. My mom knocked softly on my door. "You didn't eat dinner." I quickly closed my laptop. "I'm not hungry." She looked at me carefully. What happened? And for some reason, I finally told someone the truth. I told her everything. About Ethan. The project. The betrayal. And the moment I finished, the room felt completely silent.
He did what?
I looked down at my hands. I trusted him. And then, something unexpected happened. My mom hugged me. Tightly. Like she finally understood how much pain I'd been carrying alone. Have you ever trusted the wrong person? Have you ever stayed quiet while someone else took credit for your hard work? Then, this story is for you. Like this video and subscribe to the channel, because Ashley's biggest moment is coming. The next morning, I had two choices: stay silent and let Ethan win, or fight back. And for once in my life, I chose myself. I requested a private meeting with the program director. My hands were shaking while waiting outside the office. Not because I was scared of the truth, but because I was scared no one would believe me. "Ashley? Come in." I placed my laptop on the desk. Then, I showed everything. The original drafts, the edit history, the research files, the late-night messages. Every piece of proof pointed to one thing. The project was mine. The director leaned back slowly. "This is extremely serious." And in that moment, I finally knew I wasn't invisible anymore. A few hours later, Ethan found me outside the building. For the first time since I met him, he looked nervous. "You went to the director?" "Yes." His jaw tightened instantly. "You're overreacting." "No, I'm finally reacting." He stared at me. Because the quiet girl he manipulated before didn't exist anymore. The next day, everyone in the mentorship hall was gathered together. The atmosphere felt heavy. Then, the director stepped forward. After reviewing the evidence, we discovered academic misconduct regarding the project submission. The room exploded with whispers instantly. Ethan looked pale. And then came the words, "The original creator of the project is Ashley." My name echoed through the room again. But this time, not as the invisible girl. As the girl who fought back. Ethan tried to explain himself, tried to deny it. But it was over. The same people who praised him yesterday were now staring at him with disappointment. And honestly, I didn't feel happy watching him fall. I just felt free. That night, I sat in my room again. But this time, I wasn't crying. I was breathing peacefully. Because for the first time in my life, I stood up for myself. And I won. But while one chapter of my life was ending, another one was about to begin. Because someone unexpected reached out to me after everything happened. And their offer could change my future forever. 3 days after Ethan was exposed, I received another email. At first, I thought it was just another school notification. But then, I read the subject line. Private scholarship interview invitation. My hands froze instantly. A scholarship? Not just any scholarship, one of the biggest academic programs in the country. The email explained everything carefully. They had been observing top-performing students from different mentorship programs. And my name was recommended personally. For years, I begged people to notice me. Now opportunities were finding me on their own. That evening, I told my family. And the reaction this time? Completely different. Ashley, this is incredible. This could open doors for your entire future. Even my brother smiled immediately. I told you she was smart. I almost laughed hearing that. A few months ago, he barely noticed I existed, but my sister stayed quiet again. Too quiet. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. And honestly, I understood her. When someone changes suddenly, people around them don't always know how to handle it. The scholarship interview was only 4 days away. 4 days to prove I deserved a future bigger than the life I grew up in. So I prepared constantly. Questions. Answers. Research. Practice. Every night, I stayed awake rehearsing possible conversations. Not because I wanted to be perfect, but because I was tired of feeling small. The night before the interview, my father knocked on my door again. He sat beside me quietly. You know, when you were younger, I worried about you. I looked down silently. You stayed so quiet all the time, and I thought quiet people couldn't survive in this world, but I was wrong. You were strong the entire time. The next morning, I stood outside one of the tallest buildings I had ever seen. Glass walls, luxury offices, people in formal clothes walking everywhere. And suddenly, I felt small again. What was I even doing here? These people were confident, powerful, successful. And I was just Ashley. But then, I remembered something. The old Ashley would have turned around and gone home. The old Ashley needed permission to believe in herself. But not anymore. So I took a deep breath, straightened my shoulders, and walked inside. The interview panel asked difficult questions. Questions about pressure, failure, leadership, dreams. And for the first time in my life, I answered honestly, not like someone trying to impress them, but like someone finally confident in who she was becoming. I know what it feels like to be underestimated, I told them quietly, and I never want anyone else to feel invisible the way I did. One of the interviewers smiled softly. That may be your greatest strength. 3 days later, I got the call. I answered with shaking hands. Hello? Congratulations, Ashley. We'd like to officially offer you the scholarship. I stopped breathing for a second. I got it. I actually got it. Tears filled my eyes instantly. Not because of the scholarship itself, but because of what it meant. The invisible girl, the quiet girl, the forgotten girl, finally had a future nobody could take away from her. Sometimes, the hardest part about moving forward is that the past doesn't always let you go. And just when I thought my life was finally becoming peaceful, he came back. The same person who broke my trust, like it meant nothing. This was the moment. My past collided with my future. I stared at my phone for almost a full minute. One message, one name, Ethan. My chest tightened instantly. Why now? After everything he did, why would he contact me again? Slowly, I opened the message. Can we talk? And just like that, everything came rushing back. The betrayal, the humiliation, the disappointment, but worse than all of it, the fact that a part of me still cared. Not because I trusted him anymore, but because he was the first person who ever made me feel understood. I wanted to ignore him, block the number, delete the message, move on. But curiosity is dangerous, especially when your heart still has unanswered questions. Have you ever tried to move on from someone, only for them to suddenly come back into your life? If you relate to Ashley's story, like this video, and subscribe to the channel because this conversation changes everything. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him. A small coffee shop downtown. Neutral territory. The entire walk there, my thoughts were a mess. What was he going to say? Was this another manipulation? Or was he actually sorry? When I walked inside, I saw him immediately. Same dark hoodie, same calm expression. But something about him looked different. Less confident, more tired. When our eyes met, he stood up slowly. Hey. Hi. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then finally, he looked down at the table. I'm sorry, Ashley. Not defensive, not arrogant, just broken. I know I destroyed everything, he continued quietly. And you had every right to expose me. Hearing him admit it didn't feel as satisfying as I thought it would. Then he told me something I never expected. My father lost his job last year, he said quietly. My family's falling apart. And I thought if I won that project, maybe I could finally become someone important. For the first time, I saw the truth. Ethan wasn't evil. He was desperate. Broken people sometimes break others too. I understand being desperate, I told him quietly. But that doesn't justify what you did. He nodded slowly. I know, and honestly, I think losing you was worse than losing the program. My heart tightened slightly hearing that. Because despite everything, a small part of me still remembered the boy who stayed up talking to me for hours. When the conversation ended, we walked outside together quietly. The city lights reflected across the wet streets, and for a moment, everything felt strangely peaceful. I don't hate you, I admitted quietly. But I can't trust you anymore. He nodded slowly. I understand. As I walked away, I expected to feel sadness or anger, but honestly, I just felt free. Because for the first time, I realized something important. Healing doesn't always mean fixing relationships. Sometimes, healing means learning when to let go. But while I was finally closing one chapter of my life, another unexpected person was about to enter it. Someone who already knew my story before I even met them. And the next time my phone rang, everything changed again. If Ashley's story has touched your heart so far, like the video, and subscribe to the channel because last episode will introduce the person who changes Ashley's life forever.